Common Core State Standards by Brianna O'Shea. What are the Common Core State Standards? These are standards that will make sure students are prepared for college in the real world. These standards amount to national-wide curriculum. It is a set of shared goals and expectations for what knowledge and skills will help our students succeed. Local schools will decide how these standards are to be met. Common Core State Standards are like steps that will lead the students to success in their college career and in the real world. Some believe that these standards only include skills and do not take in the importance of the content knowledge. Yet in reality, these standards recognize both. For example, in language arts, students are required certain content knowledge, like American founding documents and Shakespeare, but are also required to acquire knowledge in literature through reading, writing, speaking, and listening. These standards are the same everywhere, so that it is fair for everyone. This leads to the idea that the standards will be brought down to the lowest common denominator. But in fact, the standards are based on the most advanced current thinking. It moves even the best standards to the next level. No state will lower their standards. The standards are informed by the best in the country, the highest standards. Teachers can use these standards to more accurately measure their students' learning growth and acquisition of knowledge. Yet this leads to the fear that the standards will tell teachers what to teach. But in reality, the standards establish what students need to learn, but don't say how the teachers should teach it. It is still up to the teachers, so they can best choose what fits their students. Bloom's new taxonomy plays into what the Common Core State Standards are trying to accomplish. With the new scale, the nouns are made into verbs, and the top two levels were exchanged. At each level, students and teachers have different roles to play. The first level is remembering, which is recalling or recognizing specific information. The teacher's role is to direct, tell, show, examine, question, and evaluate. The student's role is to respond, absorb, remember, recognize, and memorize. At this level, the student is a passive participant. The next level is understanding, which is comprehending the information given. The teacher's role is to demonstrate, question, listen, compare and contrast, and examine. The student's role is to explain, translate, demonstrate, and interpret. From this level and upwards, the student becomes an active participant. The next level is applying, which is using methods, concepts, principles, and theories in new situations. The teacher's role is to show, facilitate, observe, evaluate, organize, and question. The student's role is to solve problems, demonstrate use of knowledge, and construct. The next level is analyzing, which is breaking down information down into its elements. The teacher's role is to probe, guide, observe, evaluate, act as a resource, question, organize, and dissect. The student's role is to discuss, uncover, and list. The next level is evaluating, which is judging the value of ideas, materials, and methods by developing and applying standards and criteria. The teacher's role is to clarify, accept, harmonize, and guide. The student's role is to judge, dispute, and develop. The last level is creating, which is putting together constituent elements or parts to form a whole, requiring original creative thinking. The teacher's role is to reflect, extend, analyze, and evaluate. The student's role is to discuss, generalize, relate, and compare and contrast. In relation to the Common Core State Standards, Bloom's new taxonomy are the steps students take to reach the deeper understanding of the subjects that the Common Core State Standards are striving for. Smarter Balanced Assessments. These are a system of assessments aligned to the Common Core State Standards in English language arts and math for grades 3rd through 8th and 11th grade. It would consist of a summative assessment administered during the last 12 weeks of the school year with a computer adaptive and performance test. This summative assessment will accurately describe both student achievement and the growth of student learning. It will also provide valuable, reliable, and fair measures of the student's progress. The Smarter Balanced Assessments would also consist of an optional intermittent assessment that would be administered at local intervals with a computer adaptive and performance test as well. This assessment would help teachers, students, and parents understand whether students are on track and identify strengths and limitations in relation to the Common Core State Standards. The content for the Smarter Balanced Assessments cover the range of knowledge and skills of the Common Core State Standards. The Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. The PARCC test is a computer-based K-12 assessment in math and English language arts. This assessment will allow parents and teachers to see how the students are progressing in school and if they are on track for a college career. When developing the blueprints, both education faculty and classroom teachers took part. To prepare students for the PARCC, teachers need only follow the Common Core State Standards. I looked at 2 sample items from the Smarter Balance assessments. The first sample item consisted of a reading comprehension question. This sample item had 3 parts. The first part gave the text for the students to read and then asked a simple question. To answer the question, the students simply had to pull the meaning directly from the text. The second part asked what phrases helped the student understand the meaning of scarred. In order to answer these questions, the students had to show that they knew what scarred meant and had to come up with other ways of showing the meaning of scarred. The third part asked students to determine what parts of the text showed that Naomi was worrying. The student would have to show that they understand how in the text actions can show emotions. In my opinion, this sample item does not measure higher order thinking skills. In terms of Bloom's new taxonomy, it would only reach up to the 3rd level of analyzing, as all the information needed is provided by the text. The students aren't required to pull any outside knowledge in order to answer the question. Even when showing that they understand what the meaning of scarred means, they can pull it right from the text. They don't have to come up with their own answers in any way. The second sample item I looked at was a writing question in which the student would have to write the ending to the story. The student would have to show that they understood the story so far in order to complete it. This asked the student more than what just happened, because in order to continue the story, the student wouldn't be able to pull examples from the text. In order to complete the text, they have to come up with their own ideas that still fit with their original ideas. In my opinion, this sample shows higher level thinking, as the students have to create their own answers entirely from their own knowledge. They have to show that they understand the story as they read it in order to build onto it, yet they can pull no examples from the story as it is and must create the rest of their story entirely on their own. In conclusion, not all of the Smarter Balance assessment questions, in my opinion, were higher order thinking, as not all push students to the top 2 levels of Bloom's new taxonomy. Yet the Common Core State Standards seems to be a good development. The Common Core State Standards avoidance of multiple choice questions on assessments tends to measure higher order thinking skills, as students cannot simply guess at the answer. They have to come up with it on their own. The nationwide standards of the Common Core State Standard also offers a fair and accurate way of evaluating students' knowledge. It is good for teachers, as it helps teachers see how their students are progressing and if they need help. All in all, the Common Core State Standards is a positive step forward in assessing students and helping them to be prepared for college and the real world.